Okay, you want to know the secret ninja hack to grow your business? It's like the thing that makes pretty much everything in business 10,000 times easier. And also the reason why 99% of entrepreneurs have trouble when it comes to business growth. Here's the truth. So I'll tell you a story. I was having a conversation earlier today over Telegram with one of my private one-to-one clients. And we actually met up a couple of days earlier in Boulder, and she did it in person with me. And this is someone who's scaled a business very quickly. She went from basically not doing any revenue in her business to over I think it was 6 months or something, scaling to her first $200K a month. And then it kind of crashed and burned. And I don't want to say crashed and burned. It was she kind of hit the high, and then the business revenue dropped significantly. And we're in the stage where, we're kind of reimagining the next chapter of the business and re-architecting the offer suite and the way that delivery is structured and the back end, as well as her relationship with it. And that's what's happening on a strategic level. But a lot of the work that we did one-to-one was actually really looking at these unconscious ways in which she's actually pulling the brakes in terms of her own scale and growth. And my sense of what happened was she scaled really quickly. Her nervous system kind of freaked out, because oftentimes this is what happens in periods of rapid growth and expansion. Your nervous system is a whole other thing. It's your business is one thing, your nervous system is one thing. And so you can scale really quickly, but if your nervous system hasn't yet expanded to be able to feel safe holding, it's not so much holding, but more so being able to open to the experience of that wealth, of the attention, of the positive feedback, the negative feedback, all the things that are going to come as a result of being at the helm of that expansion. What will happen is your nervous system is going to pull on the brakes. And so what happened here is you look at the outside and you can be okay, well, here's the reason why I strategically this didn't work or whatever it is. But actually, internally, what it really was just a nervous system protection mechanism kicking in to try to keep this entrepreneur safe. Super normal. This is a part of entrepreneurship. And it's actually the thing that's underneath, I think, most of what gets people in trouble in business. So when I work with entrepreneurs, my philosophy around business growth, and this really shifted things for me when I started to understand this. And it took me from a place where I was just feeling business growth was challenging, difficult, it was a push or grind, or I was using my mind to try to do everything and strategize everything, and it felt exhausting, to this place where growth happens effortlessly through me. I'm not so much growing the business so much as it is being grown through me. That is my experience of business growth. Our business grows effortlessly in this really beautiful, easy, fun way. And all of that has been a result of really starting to understand what I'm about to share with you. So my philosophy on business growth is that your business wants to grow. Growth is a natural state in life. You put an acorn in the ground, and in the right conditions, you water it, you give it sunlight, you have good soil, it's going to become a tree, right? That is what acorns want to do. Acorns want to become trees, right? And the same thing is with your business. The same thing is with all growth in life. My belief is that the universe, God, life, wants to expand. That is its nature. It's constantly expanding. And we are a part of that, which means our nature is to constantly expand and grow and to become more of who we really are every single day, and to expand more and more into the infinite potential of who we actually are. And your business is a part of that. So the question is not how do I grow, but what is holding that natural process back? In other words, what if growth was always trying to happen by default, and the only thing that was holding it back was that you had For example, a part that was subconsciously self-sabotaging to try to keep you safe, that was basically pulling the brakes on the natural process of growth that's always trying to happen. And I see the journey of business growth and scale less as this like strategic game of like, how do we architect the perfect strategy? How do we figure out from our mind what needs to happen in order to make this big business bigger, which is the way that most people approach business growth. It's very intellectual. And I'm not saying you can't build from that place, but it becomes so much easier when you realize your job is not actually to do anything so much as it is to really just release the blocks that are standing in the way. Release the blocks that are standing in the way. So in this case with this client, what did we do? We did a lot of parts work. We really connected to those parts of her that were feeling afraid and allowed those parts to be seen and heard and understood and felt. And we shifted some relationship dynamics with those parts. And this is work that she's now doing offline between our coaching calls. And as she is able to integrate those parts, they feel safe inside her. They are now on board with the journey of expansion. And it's like she's cleared the pipes, right? And that's when growth can happen naturally. And my experience in doing this work, both with myself as well as with entrepreneurs, is that the strategy actually figures itself out when you are clearing the pipes, when you have a clear channel, when your business is actually a clear channel. In other words, you don't have all this like subconscious resistance and all of these stories and beliefs and like dysregulated nervous system type stuff that's like creating all this like push-pull in the business, which is where most entrepreneurs are. It's like they don't even realize there are all these layers of self-sabotage. So it's like, man, why does business feel so hard? I feel like I'm like trying to grow this thing, but then it's like I've got this invisible force that's just like pulling me back to baseline. It's like you got one foot on the gas pedal, one foot on the brake. That's the experience that a lot of entrepreneurs have. And it's a result of having these pieces, these parts of ourselves that are not fully on board with our expansion. So my experience with this work is, you know, when we clear the channel, when we become an open channel for growth that wants to happen all the time, the strategy will honestly just, it's like your mind will figure it out. Like I get inspired ideas and downloads almost every day. And I feel like so energized and so alive by what's happening through me. And it's like God is just making it all happen through me because I'm open. And now that natural state of expansion that is our nature, right? It's not something you need to go out and get or strategize or do. It's always trying to happen through you. That is the nature of growth in business. When we're open, growth can happen naturally through us. So are you trying to make growth happen? Or do you see your role as a channel clearer? When you start asking different questions in your business, when the question becomes not how do I grow, but how do I remove the blocks or release the blocks that are holding my business back from its natural state of growth, you start shifting your focus from addition to subtraction. You become the great subtractor. Oh my God, everything changes. It becomes so much easier. It's like suddenly you're like riding a bike downhill instead of uphill. This, by the way, is a big part of the work that we do inside the collective. It's a completely new model of doing business. And honestly, it's different than, I don't know that I've ever actually seen anything out there. And I've been a part of so many masterminds and group coaching programs. I mean, I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into mentorship to help me grow my business. I've never experienced anything like this out there on the planet, a space where we approach business differently when it becomes this inside-out journey, when we focus on that inner peace. And of course, we're working on strategy too. And so much of the focus is how do we just dismantle these layers, these stories, these blocks, these beliefs that are holding you back from your natural state of expansion? What's possible on the other side of that? Like more clients, more income, more freedom, more flow, more abundance in a way that just feels so much more effortless because you've shifted from this like push and hustle and grind mode, which is where most entrepreneurs are, or the intellectual prison of trying to figure out everything from your mind, which is also exhausting, into this place where it's just like, wow, this is so cool. I feel like I'm just floating down a river and my business is growing effortlessly. That is what I want for you. And inside the collective, we do that work. It's an incredible community and space where you're going to come together with other people who are doing business differently, soul-led entrepreneurs who are building from heart, from authenticity, from integrity, from congruence, from alignment. I've never run a community like this in my life. I spent so much time. I mean, I've mentored over 1,000 entrepreneurs and have taken them through all sorts of different experiences, and I've never run anything like this before. It's just such a special space and community. And if you're feeling called to this new path of business growth, I would love, love, love for you to join us inside. So there is a link down below. You can tap that link to learn more about the collective. I hope to see you there. It's just such an incredible space and community, and I hope that this gave you some clarity today.